Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and I make videos about sewing, crafting. My main passion is English paper piecing, but I also do knitting and crochet, and in this video I'll be sharing with you what I've been making since I last spoke to you, which admittedly was a little bit of time ago. So just a little bit about myself then. So as I said, my name's Rachel. I live in the West Midlands in the UK. I live with my partner and my little puppy, who is just here trying to get some fuss off me. I run my own business. I do embroidered kids wear and I sell through Etsy. So let's start with the projects that I've been up to. Projects that I've been working on. I'm a little bit rusty, as you can imagine. I hope the sound quality is okay. I've got my microphone on here, but I'm not sure if it was fully charged, so apologies if that dips out during the middle of the video. So the first thing that we'll start with is the English paper piecing that I've been doing. Let me just get that. So I've been working on a postage stamp style quilt for my sister. She's asked for this and she's selected the colours of the fabric, so they're not what I would have. If you know what type of things I have, this is my sort of colour palette here, pinks and things. But I've been doing them in a 9 patch and then I'll just join them up. I think I wanted to get to 15 or something and then I'll start joining them. So at the moment I've only took out the middle of the patches. She's got a Super King size bed, so I'm not sure what size I will make it to. So just a close up. These are sort of low volume creamy colours. The colours are blowing out a little bit. These aren't quite that orange, they're more rusty. So I have done quite a few. The main challenge for me, that's not that red, that's much darker red. The main challenge for me is setting aside time for basting them, because it's not my favourite job. Now I'm unsure of this, so I've been speaking to my sister about it and she's been involved in it. And she thinks this is a coloured one. I think that, I don't know, when I look at that, it doesn't look right there. So I'm not sure if I'll continue to use that as a coloured one. See, it's coloured, plain, coloured, plain. So I've been alternating whether I start with a coloured square or a neutral square, and then they'll just go together like that. I'll do the trick of laying them out and photographing them in black and white so I can see that I've got the correct colour balance. And these are all the ones that I've basted together. Now just a quick tip that I've found, because I like keeping them in here and keeping them in similar ones, you know, so when you baste a whole strip, I keep them together like this. But what I've been doing, I hope you can see that, is, you know, those small plastic hair ties, I've just been putting those around them, and I think that it doesn't take up any additional space. You get millions in the pack, and yeah, it keeps them neat in there, which I like. I've got a little notions pouch, and I also put this embroidered patch onto it. This is something that I made in the business and it was just surplus to requirements, so I've just attached that there with some iron-on permanent backing, because it was already quite thick and I thought there's no chance I'll stitch through that. So in terms of the supplies that I use, I always use the Alma's glue, and is the ones that's smaller. You get this on Amazon. I think it's maybe £5 for 4. Quite cheap, £5 or £6. And then I just use a cream polyester thread. And I've been finding cream is quite good on that because it just matches with the lighter colour. And I've been struggling at the moment for thimbles. I like to use these silicone ones on the needle gripping fingers, but then I do push with here, this area, the pad of my finger. So I've been using this clover, the leather one, but I put it on that finger. But I just find that it's worn out there, and it catches the needle and the thread comes out. I have got one that's got a metal plate on it, so I think I need to start using that more, but that's in a different kit. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention, you probably all watch Emma Jones's Vintage Sewing Box channel, but she made a video at the start of the year saying about finding more time for crafting, and that's what inspired me to have a set notions pouch for each project. But I also wanted to, I always think that I don't have enough time for crafting, so I wanted to document how much time, and I'm so surprised. I think in January I did 45 hours, and then February was about 43 hours, and it reassures me that I do get enough time. Well, you could always do it more, but I do get time, and you know, it averages an hour a night or something. So yeah, I'm impressed with that. So if you also feel like you don't get enough time for yourself to do your hobbies, I would recommend just writing them down. And all I've been doing is just doing it in like a diary style. I just put the date and I just put a little bit of blurb about what I was doing for that crafting session, and just put 1 hour, 2 hours, however long. And it does add up, especially if you're going to sit down on the weekend for 2, 3 or 4 hours and have a good session of doing something. It does add up, and you might forget about that and think, oh, I haven't had enough time, which is what I used to do. So I'm enjoying that. Now, second sewing project that I've been working on is this machine pieced scrappy log cabin quilt, and I'll just get it down so I can show you, but I will also put some photos over the top. So it's a single-sized quilt. I haven't finished quilting it yet. I'll show you. I've got to go down the sash in here. I'll put some photos over the top, and I'll just give you some close-up. I really like it. I wanted it to be a little bit more squishy than the polyester. No, I wanted it to be more squishy than the cotton batting. I didn't think of using 2 layers, which I should have done, but I've used polyester batting, which is really thick, and it gives it such, you can probably see how thick it is. It's such a lush, thick quilt. On the back, I've just got a gingham. Now, I have been a bit disheartened by the back. I don't have a table to baste the quilt on, so I've been basting it on the floor. And I've got a few tucks in the back, or pleats, I'm not sure. You know, I don't mind where you've got this texture here. Oh, sorry. I don't mind where you've got this texture here, but in some places, I think this could be a common problem, because, sorry if that's making loads of noise on the microphone. Let me find one. But I've actually put in pleats like that, and I don't know how to avoid that. I think if I had a table that I could baste on, I'd probably have more success at smoothing out the bottom layer. And I spray basted and pin basted this quilt. And there was quite a few that I had to take back the quilting because I just wasn't happy with how much it had actually tucked, pleated. That does look good, doesn't it? So you can see where I'm missing the quilting lines through here, so I just need to add that. So this quilt has been machine pieced and machine quilted. So all I used for that quilt was just scraps, 1.5 inch strips. Now, in some places I wasn't 100% accurate with the 1.5 strips, so some blocks ended up slightly smaller, and then I had to add another strip, and then the majority of that strip got cut off when I added the sash in. But I don't mind, it just adds to it. Some are a little wonky as well, so I have just been calling it my wonky log cabin quilt because they are wonky in some places. But I've really enjoyed doing that, and I've got plans on doing my next quilt, which is also going to be a scrappy quilt on the machine, because I like having a machine quilt and then a hand sewing quilt on the go. Inevitably, I haven't actually finished a hand sewn quilt yet. But I just wanted some help, because with my next quilt project, so I needed help on two things. How do I avoid the tucks? And second of all, the next quilt project, I've seen some videos, and I think I saw it on the Last Homely House channel, where she made strips with like crumbs, and she's sewn it onto something, some type of interfacing or something that was then left behind in the quilt. It was sort of 2 inches, 3 inches as strips, and then she pieced all of these crumbs onto it. I can't find the video, and she was talking about another video that she'd watched. So does anyone know what that is? Basically, I think it was sort of this wide, comes on a roll, and she pieced on top of it. So let me know if you know. So next section, oh no, I have got one more sewing project, so let me show you that. I DIY'd, upcycled a canvas bag. So here it is. The bag I didn't make, the bag was purchased. I've added the patchwork on the bottom. So this is some Tilda scraps that were they was already cut into strips. I bought it from the Quilt Festival. So the strips weren't any particular size, so there are some size differences. And all I did with this is I pieced them together in the strip, separate from the bag. Did that twice, obviously a little bit wider than what I thought I would need. And then I pieced the two together. I deconstructed the bag here at the sides and the bottoms on both sides. I laid the fabric right side together, so this panel was up here, stitched along there to join it, pulled it back, top stitched, and then I just top stitched along here, and then I think I manually folded it under and top stitched. That might have been on the top or the bottom, I can't remember which end I did that on, but it was just manually folded under. As you can see, it wasn't quite long enough to make it to the back, but I don't mind that. You don't really see the underneath. I thought that when I loaded stuff into the bag, it would squash down and the bottom would show, which I guess it does to some degree. And then I did this was my first ever Dresden plate. I didn't use a template or anything like that. I just freestyled it on the sewing machine, and that's how that came out. And I added some stuffing in the middle there to make it 3-dimensional. And then, I hope you can see, but I've added, let's see if it'll focus. I've added some quilting lines. I don't think it's quite focusing. So yeah, and the bag just undoes here, and it's just drawstring at the top. So it's a really nice project bag, because I go to a local craft shop and we take our whips there with us, and it's a really nice bag, I think. Oh, it's got a stitch marker. I must have not needed that, so I'll put it on there. Okay, so to move on to my next section, which is crochet. I haven't got any knitting that I'm currently working on. I've got a few knitting whips. I've got a few more whips in every category. But this is just what I've actively been working on since the last time we actually spoke. So it was my puppy's first birthday. So I made her a jumper. The pattern says it was a dress, but I guess it is a dress because it's got this ruffle tutu. Now the pattern is by Lottie and Lulu's Crochet. I purchased it on Etsy. The pattern is very straightforward. This was the first garment, I know it's not a human garment, but it's the first crochet garment that I've made, and it's the first pattern that I've ever read, because I shy away from patterns. I prefer if there's a YouTube video. So I was so impressed when I did this. I used King Cole Cherish yarn, and I think the colourway was Neapolitan. So it's these puff stitches, some ribbon for the neck, and then a lovely tutu. So you make this sort of mesh inside, and then you attach the tutu. I think I used about 150 grams, so it's about a ball and a half, so it cost less than £10. The only adjustment that I would make if I made it again is when you'll see the pictures, I'll insert some pictures, but this neckline here is quite low, so it actually comes down here, whereas if it's a turtleneck it should sit up there. So all I would do is I would add a few more rows here before I actually break for the armholes. So I'll insert a few pictures over the top. She wears clothes brilliantly, so she wasn't fazed by it, and it gives her an hourglass figure. Now, with my success of reading the dog coat, I thought I'd make a summer garment for myself. Now, this is the Romy Cardigan by Manatee Squares. So it's kind of holey, a bit meshy. Hope you can see it. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll insert a picture. There's going to be a lot of pictures to remember. But yes, I'm making that. I've made a start. Look at the state of that ball. The wool that I'm using is Hayfield Bonus DK in the shade mauve. And I'm about 3/4 of the way through the back piece. I've just finished, well, just coming up to finishing the first ball. So I've got that left. I hate the wool when it gets to that stage, do you? It's floppy and everything. I'm going to mess it up now because I'm going to have to hold that. So here's what I've done so far. It's got some edging ribbon. It's not ribbon, but you can see the pattern a little bit more there. I shan't give too much away about the stitch, but it's not a standard V stitch, which it looks like there, but it's coming along quite quick. I did my gauge on this. I did the gauge square, and I was 1 centimetre too big, I think. So I worked out that overall across, you start with the back, so across the back I would have been 13 centimetres too big. So I've gone down a size rather than changing the size of my hook, because I wanted it to still be quite flowy. Looking at it now, I don't know if it looks a bit out there. It could be because on the bottom you start with a smaller size hook and then you use half a size bigger going up, but it should be quite nice. I'm hoping to wear that with dresses and things in the summer. You know, it will be quite warm because it's wool or acrylic at the end of the day, but just a nice throw over for the summer. I'm sorry if I sound a bit blocked up, I've just been sneezing off camera. Now, in terms of purchases, I don't think I've purchased obviously the wadding and the backing for that. I did that a couple of weeks ago. That's all that I've purchased. Oh, the binding on that I've made. I just need to attach it. And I don't trim the quilt until I've attached the binding, and I leave a little bit extra because I like the binding to be a bit full, puffy. But other purchases that I've made, I have purchased a course or a one-day workshop on dyeing yarn. So I'm really excited for that. I've actually bought it as a Mother's Day present and birthday present for my mum. So she's coming along with me because I think she's quite interested in dyeing yarn as well. So that should be fun. So that's not until the end of April, so it's a month away now. So it's, well, it's about 6 weeks actually. So yeah, I'll keep you updated on that. If you do want more regular updates, still intermittent, then do follow me on Instagram. I'm thinking of setting up a TikTok channel to show what I'm making, because I really enjoy making these videos and sharing them with you, but I don't always get the time to sit down and make it, edit it, upload it. So I was thinking maybe a little TikTok channel where it's just videos less than a minute, where maybe I can talk and show things that I'm working on. But let me know if that's something you would want to see, if you use TikTok, if you follow craft channels on there, so just let me know. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope to see you soon. Take care.